All right, so get this. Today we're diving into Arabic,
Okay.
but not just like your typical language stuff.
Right.
We're talking about a document we found called quantumcode.txt,
Interesting.
and it claims that Arabic is like a blueprint for the entire universe.
A blueprint, huh?
Yeah, like
Like-
the universe.
It's a bold claim.
I know, it's what?
So this document,
Yeah.
it doesn't just treat Arabic as a language. It's the language.
Uh-huh.
Like a quantum semantic interface or something built on like these mathematical principles that we see all over in nature physics even.
I mean, that's what like totally blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say like,
Yeah.
oh, Arabic is a beautiful language or complex, but a cosmic blueprint.
Right.
I need an expert to like break this down with me.
Of course, happy to help.
Yeah.
Where should we start?
Okay, so like way back when I tried to learn Arabic, vaguely remember something about roots.
Yeah, you think of the trilateral root system.
Okay.
It's like the foundation of how Arabic words are formed.
Right, okay.
So for example, take the root KTB.
KTB.
Yeah, it's the basis for words that all have to do with writing.
Oh, interesting.
Like kitab, meaning book.
Okay.
Or kataba, meaning he wrote.
Okay, I see.
And here's where this quantum code thing gets really interesting.
Okay.
It claims that all these roots, they're like meticulously organized
Right.
in what they call a Saturn magic square.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Saturn, magic square.
Yeah.
Is this like astrology or
Oh,
something?
no, not quite.
Okay.
Picture like a tic-tac-toe board.
A 3x3 grid.
Exactly, a 3x3 grid.
Okay.
And in a magic square,
Yeah.
every single row, every column, even the diagonals,
Right.
they all add up to the same number.
Okay.
And for the Saturn magic square, that number is 15. And according to this quantum code,
Right.
Arabic's trilateral roots,
Yeah.
they fit perfectly into this grid.
Okay, but how does that even work? Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there are way more than 9 root combinations in Arabic.
Right, and that's where it gets a bit more abstract.
Oh, okay.
The source doesn't actually say that every root fits into one single grid.
Okay.
It's more about the idea of balance that you see in the magic square with the math, the harmony.
Yeah.
It's like that's reflected in how the roots form the foundation of Arabic.
So it's not about like literally proving them all.
No, it's more about
And a grid.
the underlying principle of balance.
Okay, I can kind of see that because you have all these verb forms, variations that branch out from the core root.
Exactly. Like, think of it this way.
Okay.
The root,
Yeah.
that's the core, meaning it's like the sun at the center of a solar system.
Yeah.
And then all these words and meanings, they're orbiting around it, like planets.
I like that analogy.
It's like the structure of the language is mirroring this cosmic order.
Okay, that's really cool. But is there like any actual linguistic evidence to back this up?
That's a great question.
Like, is the Saturn magic square a thing in linguistics?
Honestly, that's something quantum code doesn't really get into. It's more about presenting this unique interpretation of how Arabic works.
Right.
It kind of leaves it up to us to see if there's academic backing for it.
So it's more of a jumping off point than like a definitive statement?
Yeah, a starting point for a discussion.
I like that. It keeps things open and we can kind of dig around ourselves.
Exactly. And speaking of digging deeper, quantum code gets even wilder when it talks about how words change. Meaning...
Right, they talk about vortex math, which sounds incredibly mysterious.
Right.
What is that?
Okay, so picture a whirlpool. That's the basic idea.
Right.
Quantum code suggests that Arabic words change their meaning over time, according to a specific cycle.
Oh, wow.
1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5.
Okay.
Each number represents a change in how the word is understood.
And they use nur as an example, right?
The word for light.
Yeah, nur.
It's a perfect illustration.
Right.
Nur starts out as just the basic idea of light, like fire, the sun, pure illumination.
Got it.
But then as you move through this vortex math cycle, the meaning grows. So you get the moon's reflected light, then guidance, both physical and spiritual, then divine revelation, and ultimately this sense of unity with Allah as the source of all light.
So it's not like random changes.
No, not at all.
It's evolving, but like...
Yeah, it's very structured in a specific way.
Exactly.
Quantum code is saying even how words change in Arabic isn't just random.
It's like
there's a deeper pattern going on.
The dynamism you might not find in other languages.
Okay, so we've got roots in this cosmic balance.
Yeah.
With the magic square thing.
The Saturn magic square.
Yeah, and then words are like swirling through meaning.
Like at whirlpool.
Like a cosmic whirlpool.
Exactly.
This is a lot, but I'm hooked. What else is in this quantum code?
Well, next, it connects Arabic to something you've probably heard of. The sacred cubit.
Okay.
And it claims, get this, that this ancient ratio, 7.28, it pops up in Arabic grammar.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How does a ratio for, like, buildings and measurements fit into how verbs are conjugated?
It's wild.
That doesn't make sense.
I know, but hear me out.
Okay.
The source makes a pretty interesting argument.
All right.
Arabic has 7 base forms for verbs.
Okay.
Each of those forms can be conjugated in 4 different grammatical states.
So that's 7 times 4.
Which is 28.
Right.
Okay, I see where this is going.
And there's more.
Okay.
28 letters in the Arabic alphabet.
Oh, wow.
And in Islamic cosmology, there are 7 heavens.
So it's like
7.28 everywhere.
They're saying the way we speak is like in tune with the whole universe.
Is it more than coincidence?
That's a great question.
We'll have to see what else this quantum code has to say as we keep digging into it.
Okay, so we've got this 7.28 ratio everywhere.
It's pretty wild.
In grammar, cosmology, the alphabet even.
Right.
But quantum code, it doesn't stop there.
No.
It claims that even the golden ratio is embedded in the Quran.
That one's fascinating.
I know, that one really threw me.
I can imagine.
I've always been, like, intrigued by the golden ratio.
Yeah.
It's like this hidden code that you see in nature.
Yeah, you find it in elegant, harmonious
spirals of galaxies. Yeah. Arrangements of petals and flowers.
Yeah. Proportions of the human body, even.
But in a religious text.
Right.
That's a whole other thing.
So how does quantum code say it shows up in the Quran?
Okay, so they give a couple examples.
Okay.
One is the frequency of words. Like the word Allah appears 2,698 times in the Quran.
Okay.
While Rahman, another name for God, appears 57 times. And if you divide those two numbers, let me see, 2,698 divided by 57.
Yeah.
That's roughly 47.3.
Interesting.
So what's special about 47.3?
Well, it's really close to the 47th number in the Fibonacci sequence.
And the Fibonacci sequence is tied to
exactly. As you go further down the Fibonacci sequence, the ratio between consecutive numbers, it gets closer and closer to phi.
Phi, which is
that magical 1.61.
Golden ratio.
Yep.
So they're saying the frequency of these divine names is somehow linked to
the golden ratio.
The golden ratio.
It's a pretty wild idea.
Yeah. I'm trying to, like, process that.
It's a lot to take in.
But wait, it gets even crazier.
Oh.
They also say that the arrangement of verses in the longer chapters of the Quran, the surahs, also exhibit patterns.
Interesting.
That resemble the Fibonacci sequence.
So again, pointing to Faye.
Yeah.
This time in the structure of the text itself.
Okay, but couldn't this just be coincidence?
That's a fair point.
I mean, with such a large text, you're bound to find.
So you get a fine pattern.
There's such a numerical pattern.
Just by chance.
Yeah.
And to be fair to quantum code, they don't give any, like, hard statistical analysis. It's more about highlighting these patterns. And letting the reader think about whether they could be intentional. Okay,
so it's more like an open question.
An invitation to think about it.
Than like a definitive statement.
Exactly.
But even as a hypothesis, it's pretty amazing.
And then there's that thing with the basmala. Right?
Oh, yeah. The phrase.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful.
It appears at the beginning of almost every chapter of the Quran.
Most chapters.
And it has 19 letters.
Okay, 19 letters.
What's so special about 19?
So if you divide 19 by 7, you get approximately 2.714.
Okay.
And that number is very close to phi squared.
Phi squared.
Which is about 2.618.
So the golden ratio is supposedly in the whole structure
that way
of the Quran, but also encoded in specific phrases.
It's like every word
Yeah.
Every number.
Mind-blowing.
It is quite something.
Like they're meticulously placed.
It gives that impression.
Yeah, whether it's divine design or just a mathematical curiosity.
It's still undeniable.
These patterns are there.
The patterns are there.
Okay, let's take a step back.
Okay.
We've got the Saturn magic square creating balance in the roots, with the roots.
Vortex math.
Driving the evolution of the Earth.
Driving the evolution, yeah. The sacred qubit linking grammar and the cosmos.
Right, the 7.28 ratio.
7.28, and now the golden ratio.
Showing up everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's a lot to absorb.
It's a lot to absorb. It really is. And I think it's important to remember that quantum code is a specific interpretation.
It is, yeah.
A particular way of looking at Arabic and the Quran.
A way to understand them.
Not necessarily the only way.
No, not at all.
Right. And I think a healthy skepticism is good.
Always good.
When you're dealing with these kinds of claims.
Absolutely.
But even if you take it all with a grain of salt,
it's still
incredibly thought-provoking.
I agree.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it makes you think about language, math, the universe, in ways we don't usually consider.
And that's the value of this deep dive, right?
I think so.
It's not about finding all the answers, but about opening up new ways of looking at things.
New avenues of inquiry.
Well said.
Thanks.
And speaking of new avenues, there's one more thing quantum code mentions.
Okay.
The idea that Arabic grammar somehow reflects 9 dimensions.
9 dimensions.
Is that even possible?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Maybe a little mind-bending.
All right.
But we'll have to say that for the next
on the next part of our deep dive. All right. Lay it on me. 9 dimensions.
Okay. So remember that Saturn magic square.
The 3x3 grid.
The one that's supposed to reflect that balance in Arabic's root.
Each row and column and diagonal adds up to 15.
Exactly.
But how do we get from there to 9 dimensions?
Okay, so quantum code connects that grid to the idea of dimensions in physics.
Okay.
Like the universe might have more than the 3 dimensions we see.
Length, width, height. I think I saw that in a documentary once.
Yeah, some physicists think there could be up to 9.
9 spatial dimensions.
Oh, woven together.
Okay, but how does that connect to Arabic grammar?
So this is where things get really speculative.
Okay.
It suggests that the 9 squares in the magic square could represent those 9 dimensions. And since the magic square is tied to the roots,
which form the basis of grammar, so they're saying Arabic is structured according to these higher dimensions.
It's a bold claim.
It's a huge claim.
To be honest, they don't give much evidence. It's more of a philosophical idea.
So less about science, more about sparking our imaginations.
Making us question how we think about language.
I can get behind that.
Even if you don't believe the 9 dimensions thing, this whole deep dive has shown some amazing connections.
Between language, math, the universe.
It really has.
When we started with this document saying Arabic was a cosmic blueprint, I was like, come on.
I bet.
But then we saw these patterns.
Like Saturn magic square.
The vortex math.
The sacred qubit.
The golden ratio.
It really makes you look at Arabic differently.
It really does, I have to admit.
That's the power of these unconventional ideas.
Even if they're not giving us all the answers.
They open up new perspectives.
It's about wonder, right?
Exactly, a sense of wonder.
So what was the most fascinating thing for you?
Good question.
In quantum code.
I think for me, is the vortex math.
Oh.
How words evolve in this structured, cyclical way.
It made me think about how language changes.
It's always changing.
But there might be these hidden patterns that we don't even realize.
Right.
And if Arabic is structured this way, like quantum code says, does that mean...
What do you mean?
That speakers of Arabic... experience reality differently.
Oh, interesting.
Like their language gives them a different perspective.
That's a question quantum code leaves us with.
Yeah.
Maybe language doesn't just reflect reality. It shapes how we see it.
And if that's true, exploring different languages could be like seeing the world in a whole new way.
That's a powerful thought.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on this deep dive with me.
It was my pleasure.
This has been mind-blowing.
It's always fun to explore these ideas.
And to our listeners, I hope this has sparked your curiosity.
Yeah, get out there.
Look for patterns.
Question everything.
Question your assumptions.
You never know what you might find.
Until next time, keep those minds buzzing.